So take a look at this. At first glance, it's a Model 1867 trapdoor rifle, made for the cadets over at West Point. And it seems simple enough, right? Just a slightly smaller version of a standard military gun. But as we're about to find out, this rifle is a complete historical oddball. It's a custom-engineered puzzle that holds this fascinating story about technology, tradition, and, get this, even nutrition. And it all starts with one very, very expensive question. And this is the central mystery, isn't it? Springfield Armory went to all the trouble and, let's be honest, the immense expense of creating a nearly brand new rifle. We're talking almost all custom parts for just a few hundred cadets. So you gotta ask, why? What problem were they trying to solve that was so darn important? And here's where it gets really weird. For decades, a cadet rifle was, well, exactly what you'd expect. A standard infantry rifle with the barrel and stock just cut down. Simple. But the Model 1867 was completely different. Almost every single major component was designed and manufactured specifically for this model. To understand why they took such a radical step, we've got to go back in time. You see, this problem wasn't new. For most of its history, West Point had this fundamental mismatch between the soldier and his equipment. I mean, from the moment the academy opened its doors in 1802, this was an issue. It took them almost 30 years before they even formalized the idea of a specific cadet rifle in 1830. And even then, those were just the shortened standard guns we talked about. So the 1867 model, yeah, that was a complete break from tradition. And here's the human side of the story. You could enroll at West Point when you were just 14 years old. We're talking about young teenagers. And, they were often smaller than kids their age today, mostly because of the nutrition of the era. Just try to picture that for a second. A weapon that's as tall as you are, heavy and totally unbalanced. It wasn't just awkward. It made proper drill and training incredibly difficult, almost impossible. This was the long-standing problem that Springfield Armory set out to solve once and for all with the Model 1867. So let's really dive in and take a closer look at what made this oddball of the trapdoor family so unique. What's really wild is just how much custom work went into this thing. We're not talking about one or two little changes. The breech block, the hammer, the side plate, the barrel, the stock, even the trigger guard. All of it was purpose-built just for this cadet model. This was a ground-up redesign, a whole new beast. Let's look at the hard numbers, because this really tells the story. The barrel is over 3 inches shorter than the standard infantry rifle. It fired a reduced-powered cartridge, for less recoil on smaller shoulders. The side plate was way thinner. And notice this. No sling swivels. Not a single one. Every single change was about making it smaller, lighter, and easier to handle. And one of its most distinctive features is right here. These are called lightning cuts. You will only find these two cutouts on the breech block of an 1867 cadet rifle. Now, while we're not 100% certain why they're there, the most logical explanation is that it was yet another attempt to shave off every possible ounce of weight. So here's the crucial point. The rifle's whole purpose is just spelled out in its design. The fact that there are no sling swivels tells you everything you need to know. This was never meant to be a combat weapon. It was a specialized piece of training equipment, designed exclusively for the parade ground at West Point. Now, you'd think, with all this effort, this perfectly engineered solution would have been a massive success, right? Well, the reality was quite a bit different. This is the number that makes the whole story so strange. Only 424 of these custom rifles were ever made. That's an incredibly small production run for any military firearm, which only makes you wonder even more, why on earth did they go to all that trouble in the first place? After just 2 years, the whole experiment was over. This meticulously designed rifle was basically deemed a failure and pulled from service, just like that. And here is the ultimate irony. They replaced this custom-built revolutionary rifle with a model that went right back to the old way of doing things, just a standard trapdoor rifle cut down for cadets. The whole new idea was just tossed aside for the simple, old-fashioned solution it was meant to replace. But the story doesn't quite end there, because it wasn't just the Model 1867 that was a short-lived experiment. Turns out, the entire concept of a cadet rifle was on borrowed time. So 3 big changes happened that basically made these special rifles obsolete. First, standard issue rifles, like the Krog-Jurgensen, just got smaller and lighter on their own, making a special version kind of pointless. Second, the admission rules changed, raising the minimum age to 17. And third, thanks to better agriculture and nutrition, the cadets themselves were just, well, they were getting bigger. So, in the end, the Model 1867 wasn't just replaced. The very problem it was so brilliantly, if expensively, designed to solve had completely vanished. Technology and society had just moved on. So, when you think about it, the 1867 rifle was this perfect, elaborate solution to a problem that was about to disappear. And it kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? What technologies we use every single day are just intricate stopgaps destined to look like historical oddities once the world changes around them?